really spark the imagination, quite like the Egyptian pyramids. I mean, just imagine these structures standing for millennia, built with this astounding precision, and maybe, just maybe, still holding secrets unseen for thousands of years. What if, tucked away in all that monumental stone, there were hidden chambers, just waiting to be rediscovered? Today, that's exactly what we're taking a deep dive into. How scientists are using, well, frankly, cutting-edge technology, specifically cosmic ray muons, to try and peer inside the mighty pyramid of Khafre at Giza. Our mission here is to unpack this fascinating project, the ScIDEP Muon Radiography project. You'll discover how a fundamental particle, something from space, is becoming this indispensable detective, and how ingenious detectors are built for this very purpose, plus the rich history of similar searches. Get ready for some genuine aha moments as we bridge ancient wonders with really modern science. So let's start with the basics then. When we talk about cosmic ray muons, what exactly are we referring to? It sounds, I don't know, like something straight out of a sci-fi novel.
It definitely has that futuristic ring to it, doesn't it? But muons are very much real and incredibly common. Think of them as elementary particles, almost like a heavier cousin to the electron, And they're constantly raining down on Earth.
Constantly.
Constantly. They're created high up, way above us, when cosmic rays, these super high-energy particles zooming in from deep space, crash into atoms in our atmosphere. The amazing thing is, they're just everywhere. Right now, as you're listening, thousands of muons are passing through you, through buildings, through, well, everything around us.
Wow.
Yeah, at sea level, we're talking about roughly 160 muons per second hitting every square meter of the ground. It's this constant, invisible shower.
That's mind-boggling to think about. So, okay, how do these invisible particles, which are just zipping through us right now, actually help scientists see inside a solid, like, 2.5 million ton pyramid?
Right. This is where absorption meography comes in, and it's truly ingenious. Basically, as muons travel through any kind of matter, they lose energy. Now, the denser the material...
Like stone.
Exactly, like the pyramid stone. The denser it is, the more muons get absorbed or sort of deflected off course. So if you place a detector underneath or maybe around a massive object like a pyramid, you can actually count how many muons manage to get all the way through.
Okay.
Then you compare that number to how many should pass through if it was just open air, that baseline flux we talked about. And from that difference, you start to build up a density map.
Ah, so it's like seeing shadows.
Precisely. Think of it like a giant X-ray, but instead of using a machine, we're harnessing these naturally occurring cosmic particles.
Yeah.
A single detector gives you a 2D shadow, like you said. But if you combine data from multiple detectors, multiple angles,
you get 3D.
You can reconstruct a full 3D image of the internal structure. And the best part, it's completely non-invasive. No drilling, no damage whatsoever to these incredible ancient marvels.
That non-invasive aspect has got to be huge for archaeology, right? But is scanning pyramids the only thing meography is actually good for, or does it have, like, wider uses?
Oh, absolutely. The true brilliance here isn't just seeing through rock. It's this non-invasive, radiation-free X-ray vision that's incredibly versatile. It's being used in, well, all sorts of diverse fields far beyond archaeology.
Like what?
Well, for example, mapping underground tunnels, monitoring carbon sequestration sites to make sure CO2 storage is working. Even in national security, things like non-proliferation and treaty verification, it can potentially detect hidden nuclear materials.
Really?
Yeah. And beyond that, it's used for imaging the insides of nuclear reactors, even studying active volcanoes by revealing changes in their internal density over time. It's quite remarkable how this one fundamental particle provides such a broad and powerful diagnostic tool.
It's astonishing how widely applicable this tech is. Now, you mentioned history. This isn't the first time scientists have tried to look inside the pyramids using muons, is it? I seem to recall a Nobel laureate tried this decades ago.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, the very first application of meography to Khafre's pyramid was way back in 1970. It was led by the physics Nobel laureate L.W. Alvarez and his team. They used what were then state-of-the-art detectors called spark chambers.
Spark chambers?
Yeah. But despite their, pioneering efforts, they didn't actually find any new structures inside Khafre. Which, of course, brings us to the crucial question. If Alvarez, a Nobel winner, couldn't find anything back then, what makes today's attempts different? Why more promising now? What's actually changed in, 50-plus years?
That's the real hurdle then, isn't it? What breakthroughs have truly made this possible today compared to Alvarez's attempt back in the 70s?
Well, the absolute game changer has been the exponential leap in detector technology and, just as importantly, the sophisticated analysis methods we have now. Think of it like going from an old, fuzzy, black and white film camera to, I don't know, a super high-resolution digital scanner.
Okay, that makes sense.
A perfect example is the Scan Pyramids project. You probably heard about it in 2017. They famously discovered that large void, they called it the Big Void, above the Grand Gallery in the Great Pyramid of Khufu.
Right, I remember that.
That discovery was only possible because they combined data from 3 different types of advanced muon detectors: nuclear emulsions, scintillators, and something called micromegas detectors. Then, even more recently, just in 2023, Scan Pyramids provided incredibly detailed data on that newly discovered north face corridor right there in Khafre's pyramid itself.
So progress is definitely being made.
Absolutely. These recent successes clearly show that our ability to actually detect the muons and interpret their paths has evolved dramatically. It makes the current Calvary project much, much more capable than what Alvarez had available.
Okay, so with this powerful, evolved technology, the ScIDEP collaboration, that's the project we're focusing on, has set its sights specifically on the Pyramid of Khafre. Tell us a bit more about this particular pyramid. It often gets a little overshadowed by Khufu's Great Pyramid next door.
It does, but it's magnificent in its own right. Khafre's pyramid stands as the second largest at Giza. It has this really striking slope, 53 degrees, 10 minutes. Its actual height now is about 136.4 meters, and the base is huge, 215.3 meters along each side.
Wow.
It was built during the 4th dynasty, shortly after Khufu's, using these truly immense limestone blocks, each weighing well over 2 tons. You can still see a bit of its original smooth white limestone casing near the very top, though most of it was stripped away centuries ago.
And its known interior, from what archaeologists understand, it seems much simpler compared to the complex passages inside Khufu's pyramid, right?
Yes, that's correct. Its known structure is relatively straightforward. It primarily consists of 2 entrance corridors on the north face. They eventually merge and lead down to a small subsidiary chamber, and then on to the main, larger central king's burial chamber.
How big is that chamber?
It's quite spacious, actually. Measures about 14 by 5 by roughly 6.8 meters high. Now, what's fascinating here is this apparent simplicity. Was it an intentional design choice? Maybe after building Khufu's complex pyramid, they decided simpler was better to deter tomb robbers. Or,
There's more to find.
and this is really what the ScIDEP project is betting on, it could just mean that hidden structures are still waiting to be discovered within that seemingly simpler interior. That's precisely what they're hoping to confirm or deny.
So the ScIDEP team is basically on the hunt for those potential hidden rooms or corridors.
Yeah.
What's their overall game plan? How do you even strategize scanning such a massive object?
Well, their main aim is to get a really comprehensive 3D scan of the pyramid. And to do that effectively, they absolutely need to approach it from multiple viewpoints. This involves strategically placing their advanced muon detectors in different locations.
Okay, where exactly?
They plan to position detectors inside the king's burial chamber itself, which is quite conveniently located sort of centrally at the pyramid's base, offering this unique vantage point looking upwards and outwards from within.
Right.
And critically, they will also place detectors outside the pyramid. These will capture muons passing through the upper parts of the monument, but also measure that free sky muon flux we talked about earlier.
The baseline measurement.
Exactly. That free sky measurement gives them the essential reference point how many muons are normally hitting the detectors without any stone in the way. It's absolutely critical for accurate density mapping. This multi-angle approach, inside and out, is key to building that detailed 3-dimensional map of whatever might be inside.
This is where the engineering really gets exciting. What kind of, cutting-edge muon telescopes are they actually building to pull this off?
They're developing 2 distinct types of scintillator-based muon tracker systems. The first one, sort of an initial prototype detector, uses 2 large polyvinyl toluene plates, PVT for short.
PVT? What's that?
It's a type of plastic, basically. A scintillator just means a material that emits a tiny brief flash of light when a particle, like our muon, passes through it. And PVT is very effective at doing that. These plates are pretty substantial. Imagine something like a large chessboard, but maybe just a couple of centimeters thick. Now, embedded inside these plates are tiny 2-millimeter diameter wavelength shifting fibers. They're spaced about 1 centimeter apart, arranged in a really precise grid, X and Y.
Okay, what do the fibers do?
Good question. When a muon hits the PVT plate, it creates that flash of light. The fibers capture that light. They act like tiny optical cables, but they also shift the light's wavelength, its color, essentially, to one that the sensors can detect more easily. This maximizes the signal.
Clever.
It is. Then this light is picked up by silicon photomultipliers, SiPMs. Think of them as extremely sensitive digital eyes. They can count individual photons of light and record precisely where on the XY grid the muon hit. The plates are painted black, too, to stop light bouncing around inside and messing up the position information.
So high precision is key.
Absolutely. Preliminary simulations suggest they can pinpoint a muon's position with better than 1 centimeter accuracy. And in the heart of a pyramid, that precision could be the difference between finding a small hidden passage and completely missing it. This first detector is currently being tested and characterized at EJS, the Egypt-Japan University of Science and Technology in Alexandria. The second system, which is more complex, is called the 36 detector. It's built using polystyrene bars instead of large plates. This one is a proper muon telescope, composed of 4 distinct layers of detectors. Picture a multi-layered stack, maybe 4 levels high.
Okay.
Each of these layers contains 36 individual scintillator bars. Each bar is maybe about the size of a ruler, and again, it has a groove for its own optical fiber. Similar to the PVT plates, these bars use those wavelength-shifting fibers and CPM sensors to read out the light flashes.
How are the layers arranged?
Consecutive layers are placed perpendicular to each other. So one layer runs X, the next runs Y, then X again, then Y. This gives both the X and Y coordinates for the muon's path. But the really clever part here is that the top 2 layers are intentionally distanced from the bottom 2 by about 90 centimeters.
Why the gap?
That gap allows them to reconstruct the muon's exact trajectory. It's like having 2 distinct points in space, one point from the top pair of layers, another from the bottom pair, and drawing a straight line between them. An event, a muon detection, is only recorded if at least 1 bar detects a hit in each of the 4 layers. This helps filter out noise and ensures they're tracking real, clear muon paths through the system. Now, there were some engineering challenges. The bars weren't perfectly uniform in their light output. Some varied by up to 50%. But the team smartly addressed this by carefully grouping the bars based on their measured counting rates. Also, the fibers are meticulously wrapped in PPFE tape that's like Teflon tape to keep the light contained within each fiber and prevent interference.
Seems very detailed.
It has to be. Monte Carlo simulations, those virtual experiments, again show this 36 system has a wide angular acceptance, about 1.82 steradians. Basically, it has a very wide field of view, like a wide-angle lens for muons, maximizing the chances of capturing particles coming from different parts of the pyramid structure above. And lab tests have already successfully shown it can create images. They've imaged things like lead bricks and water containers, showing clear density differences. This system is currently being prepared for some field tests in Romania before it eventually gets shipped to Egypt.
These detectors sound incredibly intricate. But okay, once they collect all this raw muon data, which I imagine is just a huge list of particle hits, how do they actually turn that into a clear, understandable image of the pyramid's interior? That must be a massive computational challenge.
It absolutely is, yeah. And it relies very heavily on extensive simulations using powerful software packages like Jaunt4 and MCNP. Think of these programs as like virtual physics labs. They allow the scientists to build a highly detailed digital twin of Khafre's pyramid.
Including the known bits inside.
Exactly, including its known internal structures based on detailed CAD models. Then they use these virtual models to simulate precisely how muon should travel through the pyramid stone and any known voids or chambers. This predictive modeling is absolutely essential for making sense of the real-world data they eventually collect.
So you compare the real data to the simulation.
Pretty much. For example, simulations have indicated that even a hypothetical hidden void of a certain size could be statistically observable if they detect around 100 million muons passing through that region. This simulation framework is also crucial for developing the whole data reconstruction chain, the software pipeline, and the specific muographic imaging algorithms that will ultimately turn those millions of muon hits into those detailed internal maps. It's like creating the perfect decryption key before you even receive the coded message.
Right, that makes sense. So given all this meticulous planning and this incredible technology, what are the next crucial steps for the ScIDEP team? What happens now as they prepare to actually deploy these instruments at Khafre's pyramid?
Well, the immediate next steps really involve fully commissioning both detector systems locally, right there in Egypt. This is vital to make sure they operate perfectly in the specific environmental conditions, temperature, humidity, you name it.
Get all the bugs worked out.
Exactly. Get all the bugs worked out on home turf, so to speak. After that, the team faces the significant logistical and administrative challenges, getting permission, arranging transport, setting up power and data connections inside a national treasure like the pyramid. It's not just about the physics. It's a major operational undertaking, getting everything safely into, say, the king's chamber and keeping it running flawlessly for potentially months or even years, that's a huge task.
Wow, yeah, I can imagine. This is truly an amazing blend of ancient history and, like, bleeding edge physics. So, stepping back, what does this all mean for our understanding of ancient Egypt? What's the potential impact if they do find something revolutionary in Khafre?
Oh, if new structures are indeed discovered, it would be, and I don't think this is an exaggeration, an absolutely monumental archaeological find. It really has the potential to fundamentally reshape our understanding of how the ancient Egyptians built these things, maybe their funerary practices, or even the original intentions behind the pyramids themselves.
It could rewrite the textbooks.
It certainly could for Khafre. It just underscores how cutting-edge science continues to unlock secrets from the past. It reminds us that even with structures we think we know so intimately, structures studied for centuries, there's always potentially more to learn, more to discover. It's really a testament to human curiosity, both ancient and modern.
From the subatomic world of cosmic rays all the way to uncovering ancient secrets locked away in stone, this deep dive into the ScIDEP project has been a truly remarkable journey. We've seen how particle physics is helping us peek into the very heart of one of the world's most iconic structures, and crucially, without disturbing a single stone.
Indeed. And, it really makes you wonder, what other ancient wonders, or maybe even modern structures, might still yield their secrets to this persistent, patient gaze of cosmic ray muons?
That is a truly provocative thought. Thank you so much for taking us through all that. We hope you, listening, have gained a new appreciation for how science is continually pushing the boundaries of discovery. What hidden depths will you explore next?